I really like the ability to turn on the camera by pressing a button so we can see around the vehicle. Right now it's showing the front view and the top-down view. We also have the rear view camera, so we have the rear view mirror. We also have the rear view camera, so that helps out a lot as well. Now, it's a blind spot detection system and all that stuff as well, but as far as just like the camera system, it's very useful. You can see it good, and I guess on the camera you can't really see it, but for some reason it's not very bright, but to my eyes I can see it fine. So yeah, the screens are good. The visibility looks better in person, so the camera might not make it look good, but I guess you just have to trust me that you can see it fine. But yeah, now the thing about this electric vehicles is they're very quiet, but I have to have the climate control low because otherwise it's going to make it sound loud. You won't be able to hear how quiet it is. So I have to turn it down even though it's a steaming hot day. But anyways, and this isn't the fastest vehicle in the world. It's not like one of those super fast electric vehicles. Even in sport mode doesn't really, I can't really tell much of a difference. It's not like a big change when you change drive modes. It's almost imperceivable to me anyway. So I just leave it at normal mode, and it still, yeah, plenty of acceleration and all that stuff. But you know, if you're expecting it to be like, you know, a super fast electric vehicle, it's not really intended for that. It has plenty of acceleration. You don't have to worry about that, but you know, just don't get the idea that it's one of those really super fast ones. And this is front wheel drive, this particular one. You can get the all wheel drive, which I would get the all wheel drive one with the faster acceleration and all that stuff. The heads-up display is really nice, very clear. It's basically a screen, and it's very sharp and clear and useful. And I don't know if you can tell, but when it sees the lines on the road, it'll turn green on the heads-up display, but also here on the screen here. So it's green. But at nighttime, the ambient lighting that goes across the dashboard and here on the doors also turns green. It's actually green now. It's very subtle, but at nighttime you can see it clear, you know, go from white to green. And I didn't know, at first I didn't know why it turned green, but now, you know, after I played around with it, I understood that once it sees the lines on the road and that steering assist is active, then it all turns green. It's pretty neat. It does a good job of keeping you in the lane, but if you are not holding the steering wheel, you know, a certain way, then it's going to pop up and say, hey, you need to hold the steering wheel. See if I can get it to do that, because it's very sensitive. Like it doesn't take long, and even if you're holding the steering wheel and jiggling it around, I guess if you have, it has the grip sensors and you have to hold it in a certain spot. So we're just not hold the steering wheel. You can see it pops up here, and then if I'm hold the steering wheel with both hands, it works. But if I just hold it with one hand, sometimes it doesn't work. It still thinks I'm not holding the steering wheel, and I have to kind of like hold it and grip it and jiggle the steering wheel and all that stuff. Let's make it mad. All right, it's getting mad. So let me see, I can jiggle it a little. There it goes. It does it. Sometimes it's like I have to really aggressively grab the steering wheel and shake it to get it to know that I'm holding the steering wheel. Hopefully you can see that heads-up display, because it is phenomenal. I think this is probably the best looking heads-up display. If you've ever had like an eye exam and you look through the little device and then they click it to the little lens that's like perfect for your eyes, that's the way this looks. It's like super sharp. and you know, it has the, you know, it just looks nice. You know, not just the numbers and the speed limit sign, but the little green lines for the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and the cruise control number. Everything on there just looks nice, and hopefully you can see it. And it's not, sometimes heads-up displays that are this bright and this clear, sometimes are and big, are kind of distracting. This one, it doesn't really cause a problem. It's really well done. And I don't know if you can notice, but it is quiet, a very quiet vehicle. It just isolates all exterior noises, and road noise is nicely dampened. Now, this is a fairly smooth road right now, but we'll get into some bumpy parts. The only thing that I noticed that stood out to me was it kind of has this bounciness to it, because I guess the height kind of emphasizes, even though it's not a rough ride, it's still cushy, but it kind of has this bounciness to it. And you know, I have had some passengers that, you know, a little bit prone to being car sick, you know, just don't want to ride in this car because of that. But you know, so yeah, you definitely want to take your family for a ride in any vehicle and make sure everybody's satisfied with it before you buy it. That's just the way it goes. It does have the blended braking where it's recharging the battery as you slow down, and it does a good job of slowing down. The braking is great, but in addition to that, the ability to kind of creep forward is you're able to have like high control over little tiny movements driving the vehicle. Some vehicles, electric or, you know, even like dual clutch type vehicles, well, they won't let you creep. You could just like move forward fast or stop, and that's it. You can't like just have real fine movements and, you know, creep into a parking spot or something. For whatever reason you want to creep forward or backward. This one, you have that really fine detail, you know, control over the braking and the acceleration. It's really nice. The E-step, I'm not a big fan of one pedal drive, and this isn't one pedal drive, but it kind of behaves like that for the most part until you get to low speeds. So if I turn this on, it like just slows the vehicle down every time I just let off the accelerator. So it's one of those things that unless you're really accustomed to that and you really want that kind of feature, then here comes the ambulance. Unless you're accustomed to that feature, then, you know, it's a little bit, you have to get it. You have to get familiar with it. I can see where people would like it, especially in city driving and stuff, but for me, it just doesn't work. I'm not used to it. I think that's the main thing for the most part. As far as comfort, driving, the seats are very comfortable, and the overall space is good. The foot space is kind of limiting. I was kind of surprised that, you know, the amount of space your feet have are very kind of narrow. Not super duper narrow, but pretty narrow. So you notice we've gone through the bumpy parts, and you can't really tell that much. The bumpiness is not that big a deal. It handles the bumps well. As far as, you know, unless you know, just the bounciness is a little bit of an issue for some people. It could be, but as far as like handling the bumps and driving and the noise level and comfort, it's great. The floorboard on the passenger side is plenty of room. It's just the driver, where the plastic and stuff at the bottom there, just kind of limiting on the legroom. Not a huge deal, but look how much, you know, knee room I have. It's all good.